Did you know that mermaids actually have roots in the biblical history? Many people are surprised to learn that the scriptures, when carefully examined, mention creatures much like the mermaids of legend. These enchanting beings have intrigued humanity for centuries, and their symbolism appears in a variety of cultures. But what does the Bible say about them? While mermaids are often associated with folklore, fantasy, and oceans, the Bible and other ancient texts hint at beings and deities resembling what we now call mermaids. These creatures, however, are not the friendly, enchanting beings from fairy tales, but rather symbols of deception, sin, and spiritual warfare. Today we're diving deep into biblical history and exploring the spiritual significance behind mermaids and related creatures in ancient texts. Let's start with the first known mention of mermaid-like beings in the Bible, specifically in relation to a deity known as Dagon. Dagon was a god worshipped by the Philistines and other ancient civilizations. In many ancient texts, Dagon is connected to fertility, agriculture, and the sea, fitting symbols for a god with aquatic characteristics. Dagon is often depicted as a merman, with the upper body of a man and the lower body of a fish. This figure, who may seem mythical to us today, was taken very seriously in ancient times. Dagon wasn't just any god. He was believed to be the father of Baal, one of the most notorious false gods mentioned in the Bible. In the Old Testament, we find the story of Dagon during the period of the Judges. The Philistines, one of Israel's most formidable enemies, were devout worshippers of Dagon. They attributed their military victories, including their triumph over Samson, to the power of their god. The Philistines, who frequently clashed with Israel, saw Dagon as a powerful protector and provider. In the biblical story of Samson, found in the book of Judges, we see this rivalry between Dagon and the God of Israel reach a dramatic climax. Samson, a chosen deliverer for Israel, is captured by the Philistines after being betrayed by Delilah. The Philistines celebrate by offering a great sacrifice to Dagon, claiming that their God had delivered Samson into their hands. But God had other plans. As Samson stood blinded and humiliated before Dagon's worshippers, he prayed one final prayer. With renewed strength from God, Samson brought down the pillars of the temple, killing thousands of Philistines and demonstrating that no false god could stand against the God of Israel. The destruction of Dagon's temple wasn't just a military victory, it was a spiritual one. It showed that even the mightiest false gods were powerless before Jehovah. The next instance where Dagon's downfall is recorded is in the book of 1 Samuel. After the Philistines captured the Ark of the Covenant, they placed it in Dagon's temple in the city of Ashdod. What followed was nothing short of miraculous. The next morning, Dagon's statue was found lying face down before the Ark. The Philistines set the statue upright, only for it to fall again the next day, this time with its head and hands broken off. This was no coincidence. God was making a clear statement. Dagon, and by extension any false deity, was powerless in the presence of the true and living God. These stories carry significant spiritual weight. In many ways, the biblical portrayal of mermaid-like beings like Dagon symbolizes the distractions and temptations that can lure people away from their faith. Just as mermaids in folklore are often depicted as beautiful but dangerous creatures that lead sailors to their doom, the worship of false gods like Dagon represents spiritual temptations that can steer us away from the path of righteousness. The Bible is clear on the consequences of idol worship. In Deuteronomy 6:14-15, we are warned not to follow other gods, especially the gods of the peoples around us, for the Lord our God is a jealous God, and his anger will burn against those who stray from him. The worship of false gods, whether it was Dagon, Baal, or modern-day idols like wealth, power, or pleasure, leads to spiritual destruction. This brings us to a powerful question. What are the modern mermaids in our lives? What are the temptations and distractions that lure us away from our devotion to God? For many of us, it could be the relentless pursuit of money or success. For others, it might be the overwhelming desire for validation or pleasure. These modern idols are as dangerous to our spiritual well-being as the false gods of old. Throughout history, humans have been drawn to idols and false gods because of the promise of immediate gratification, whether it be fertility for crops, victories in battle, or personal wealth. But the Bible teaches us that true fulfillment comes only from God. Psalm 16:2-4 reminds us, "I say to the Lord, you are my Lord, apart from you I have no good thing." Those who run after other gods will suffer more and more. I will not pour out libations of blood to such gods or take up their names on my lips. In this world of distractions, it's essential to remember the example of Elijah on Mount Carmel. At a time when the people of Israel were torn between worshiping Jehovah and Baal, Elijah challenged 450 prophets of Baal to a spiritual duel. The prophets cried out to Baal from morning until evening, but no fire came. Then Elijah prayed a simple prayer to God, and fire rained down from heaven, consuming the offering, the wood, and even the stones on the altar. The people immediately fell on their faces and proclaimed, "The Lord, He is God." 1 Kings 18:39. Just as God defeated the false gods in ancient times, He is still triumphant over the idols in our lives today. No matter how alluring or powerful these idols may seem, they cannot stand before the true power of God. Before we wrap up, remember, if you're enjoying this journey into the biblical mysteries, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with others. Your support helps us grow the channel and bring more of these explorations to light. In closing, it's crucial to reflect on the spiritual lessons these stories offer us. The gods of this world, whether ancient deities like Dagon or modern-day obsessions with power, wealth, and pleasure, are nothing compared to the majesty and might of the God of the Bible. Let us be vigilant and ensure that no mermaids in our lives distract us from the only true source of life and fulfillment. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed, and remember to guard your hearts against the temptations of this world.